Opening people's minds to different traditions and different ways of seeing things, particularly in this holiday season.
The importance of representation during the holidays, why it's important for kids to see Santa as themselves.
It's cold now, but warmer air sits just a couple states away when it will arrive at your house.
It was a gigantic accomplishment, gigantic sacrifices, but we succeeded. Well, we had no choice. It was do or die.
Today marks 79 years since the attack of Pearl Harbor. You'll hear from a World War II vet from Indianapolis, his incredible experiences, including serving with Jimmy Stewart.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 5, streaming now.
Good Monday evening. I'm Amanda Starantino.
And I'm Mark Mullins. First at 5 o'clock tonight, more than 3 dozen newly reported COVID-19 deaths and thousands of newly reported cases. Today, the Indiana Department of Health confirms 42 additional deaths related to the coronavirus. A total of 5,986 Hoosiers have now died with COVID-19. Data from the Department of Health also shows 5,700 additional coronavirus cases. To date, 387,278 people in Indiana have been diagnosed with the virus. More perspective from our state's COVID crisis now. Indiana had the worst COVID-19 infection rate in the United States last week. According to the statistics from the COVID Tracking Project, Indiana was the only state in the country to record more than 1,000 new COVID-19 cases per million people last week. Along with case numbers, COVID deaths also increased in Indiana. Of the 22 days in which 50 or more people died with the coronavirus, 21 have occurred since November 11th. That's according to the State Department of Health.
And health officials say we may not have even seen the worst of the pandemic yet, even as the United States could give emergency approval to Pfizer's COVID vaccine as early as this week. ABC's Rena Roy with a look at what we are dealing with now and what you can expect this week.
Health officials warn the worst is yet to come in the coronavirus pandemic. The U.S. now averaging 186,000 new cases daily, roughly 129 Americans testing positive every single minute.
So you have a surge upon a surge, and then before you can handle that, more people are going to travel over Christmas.
9 months into the pandemic, this week is especially crucial. Pfizer's vaccine will be deliberated by an FDA advisory committee Thursday, shortly after it could get emergency use authorization and be distributed by states. It's already gotten the green light in the UK. If at least 75 to 85% of the U.S. population gets vaccinated, experts say we could see some sense of normalcy next year.
Into the start of the third quarter of 2021, we should be in good shape.
Governors like Andrew Cuomo of New York reaching out to minority communities that have been disproportionately affected by the virus to educate people about the vaccines. But right now, things are dire coast to coast. ICU capacity is shrinking in Southern California as hospitalizations rapidly rise.
72% increase in just 14 days. You carry that forward, and you understand why we made the recommendations we did.
More than 33 million in the state are now under strict new lockdown orders. Dining shut down and indoor retail limited. In Worcester, Massachusetts, a makeshift field hospital now ready in case the state's medical centers fill up. This family in El Paso, Texas, losing 2 loved ones back to back. Husband and wife Esther and Danny Mesingill were married for 43 years and both died from the virus recently.
The family is reeling from it, we're just devastated from the loss from both of them.
Officials are reminding people to be especially careful this holiday season, urging people to stay home and avoid travel. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
We requested and received the state's COVID-19 vaccine plan in October, which could go into place once a vaccine is ready to be shipped here, possibly within the next week or so. The Indiana Department of Health submitted this proposal to the CDC for review. So when a vaccine is ready, who will get it first? The Department of Health says their vaccine allocation committee prioritized the healthcare workforce and those people who are at greater risk of death from the virus for phase 1 of COVID-19 vaccine distribution. Among the general population, long-term care residents would be prioritized. So would people with underlying medical conditions, those who are 65 years of age and older, people at risk for severe COVID-19 illness, those at risk of acquiring or transmitting the virus, and people with limited access to vaccination vaccination services. You can read the entire draft of Indiana's vaccine plan on WRTV.com. And we recently spoke to the nursing director of infection prevention at IU Health, Kristen Kelly. She explains what's going on right now to make sure the state is ready to vaccinate Hoosiers as soon as the first shipments come in.
So it is all hands on deck for a vaccine right now. As we see, there are 2 candidates that are coming out the gate, the Pfizer and the Moderna product. We are ready and waiting for these products to be shipped to IU Health. One of our hospitals was chosen as one of 5 sites across the state to begin administering this vaccine first. Shortly after we start at IU Health Academic Health Center, also known as Methodist University, we, all of our system hospitals and other hospitals across the state, as well as many private entities like pharmacies, will begin administering these vaccines.
In the meantime, Kelly says you need to always wear a mask and practice social distancing when you are out, as well as wash your hands often.
Well, guess what's in the rearview mirror? The coldest day of the work week. Temperatures progressively warmer from here on out. There's the veil of clouds covering the Circle City. Temperatures underneath the clouds stayed cold today in the 30s, just above the freezing mark. Dry stretch continues until rain returns Saturday. 34 in Plainfield, 31 in New Pal, also in Greenfield, down in Edinburgh 33. Statewide, temperatures not much different, and a quick peek to Illinois shows you that the warmer air is not immediately to our west. There's one of the tunnels that you drive through at the Christmas Nights of Lights out at the State Fairgrounds. This evening, kind of a tunnel of clouds around. They'll begin to break up, becoming partly cloudy. Temperatures in the upper 20s by 11. We'll talk about how cold for the morning and detail the warm-up that's ahead coming up.
Thanks, Kevin. See you soon. Kids, your parents have probably been telling you to do your homework and stay on top of your chores because the holiday season is getting closer and Santa will be checking that list. And for Hoosiers that celebrate Christmas, Santa's jolly arrival is only 18 days away. And the beautiful thing about Santa is that he represents us all. Santa can laugh like you, talk like you, and most importantly, look like you. WRTV's Stephanie Wade shares the importance of representation during the holidays.
Santa is definitely a tradition at the Children's Museum.
It wouldn't be Christmas time without a photo op with Santa.
He'll actually be behind a barrier, but your family can sit there right in front and still do the tradition of getting a great picture.
Though different this year.
No sitting on Santa's lap, but we opened the mid of November and it's been going really well and families seem to be very happy. We are keeping up with all the safe social distancing and of course we've got a very rigorous cleaning schedule.
The Children's Museum of Indianapolis is continuing the holiday tradition, including a variety of Santas.
Black Santa is very important because we want to celebrate the diversity of our visitation, and everyone wants to see, you want to see yourself when you come in the museum.
You can search on their website their list of certified Santas and see when they're scheduled, recognizing the importance of representation of all communities.
We definitely have had that appreciation of families that, either it was a surprise or they sought out our Santas. And so just that recognition, again, of being able to see themselves.
The museum also offers a theater show called Santa Clues, looking at the origin story of Santa and how he is portrayed in different cultures.
We also want to celebrate that Santa Claus or St. Nicholas is a very diverse tradition that's celebrated around the world. And we actually know that kind of the origin story of Santa probably originated in what is now Turkey. So it's most definite that Santa was of an ethnicity that he's not necessarily white European.
Knowing it can sometimes be difficult to find organizations and locations where Black Santas might be this holiday season, the Children's Museum wants people to know you can count on them.
And really what it all comes back to is celebrating the gifts of the season and kind of that spirit of being kind and thoughtful to other people.
Stephanie Wade, WRTV.
To learn more about Santa's presence in central Indiana, we have it for you on WRTV.com. If you do not feel comfortable because of COVID-19, the Children's Museum is also offering virtual visits.
Today, we're taking time to remember the 2,403 U.S. military members and civilians who were killed when the Japanese attacked Hawaii's Pearl Harbor on this date in 1941. The attack marked the beginning of U.S. involvement in World War II. A World War II veteran from Indianapolis recently shared with us the memories of his role in helping to end the war. When Robert Pedigo first got a taste of being in the military, he was just a teenager.
I was the youngest one on my bomber crew.
Now he's 97 and the only living survivor among his other Air Force brethren.
It was a gigantic accomplishment, gigantic sacrifices, but we succeeded. You know, well, we had no choice. You know, it was do or die.
Pedigo, an Air Force bombardier, remembers the day when Allied forces finally defeated Germany in what is known as D-Day. In fact, the day before, Pedigo's squad commander, Jimmy Stewart, yes, the one of Hollywood fame, gave Pedigo and other airmen a pep talk before lights out.
The afternoon before D-Day, Jimmy called us a squadron at a time, 4 squadrons. He called us a squadron at a time out into the middle of a wheat field, away from all buildings, to brief us about the next morning. And even then, he didn't say what it was, but we'd been anticipating, and we surmised what it was, and we were right. And I can pretty much remember his words. He was very brief. And he said, fellas, we got a big mission in the morning. To get to bed early, so to be nobody coming going on a red alert. The base was locked down, nobody coming or going. So we'll be getting up early, so get your rest.
Morning came early at 2:30 a.m. the next day, D-Day. And Pedigo was one of the first up in the air, part of an air assault over Germany.
It was my easiest mission, but we lost 12,000 men that day on the beaches. And had it not been for all the bombing we did, we had Germany bombed to the smithereens of the ground before the invasion, so actually D-Day was ready for a mop-up.
The U.S. had resisted entering the war, but after the devastation and loss of American lives at Pearl Harbor, the U.S. involvement was inevitable. Pedigo, a treasure himself with spoken word history, wants generations now and in the future to never forget the lives lost and those who gave up so much to end a war.
Well, how great the sacrifices were to stop it, end it, win it. 8th Air Force I was in had the highest percentage of losses of any military unit in World War II. It was like flying into hell.
Pedigo speaks from experience when he refers to hell. You see, he survived 30 air battles over Germany. He's 97 now, but the Indianapolis native finally received his diploma from Arsenal Tech High School at the age of 93.
Students still being hit with campus fees despite many colleges and universities cutting the fall semester short. Is this a fair practice? We share one family's story next.
And a bubble of warmth is headed our way for several days. We'll talk about what I mean by warmth and look for a change in the weekend coming up.
Some college students are back home as many colleges and universities cut their fall semesters short, but those students are still being hit with all sorts of campus fees. Consumer reporter John Matarese shares one family's story and tries to find out if this is a fair practice so you don't waste your money.
With millions of college students now home for an extended winter break, many are now asking why they had to pay campus fees for a full fall semester they never had. Bonnie Greco's daughter was looking forward to freshman year at the University of Tennessee. But instead of living in a college dorm,
she's doing her online classes from home.
In the neighborhood she grew up in. But Mom Bonnie says they've been forced to pay campus fees.
We've got a facility fee, there's a transportation fee.
Totaling several $100s. So has she been to the campus?
No, she's never been on campus. We visited campus a year ago, I want to say.
More and more parents are making the same complaint this fall, saying, why do we have to pay campus life and transportation fees when our child's campus is mom and dad's home. Last month, David Utz complained to me that his college student son was charged campus fees while learning at home.
They're charging them a mandatory recreation fee and to get a parking pass.
Some parents are hiring lawyers. Boston College and the University of San Diego are facing lawsuits over remote learning charges. Some colleges, though, are cutting fees. Miami University did not charge campus fees. The 6-week school was delayed. But Tennessee tells us it's keeping the fee structure to support new investments needed due to the pandemic, offset cost increases, and keep charges lower for all students.
Basically, their answer is these are the fees and this is what, every student pays.
Many colleges are struggling financially due to the pandemic and say if they have to give students an additional break, that'll hurt them even more. So just don't waste your money. I'm John Madry, WRTV.
As you know, today was a relatively cold and gray day. We'll add some sunshine in and some warmth as well. See the pattern? Up, up, and away. Temperatures eventually about 15 degrees above average. So we define warmth with getting temperatures back into the 50s. Doesn't happen with a snap of the finger. It'll take a little bit of time, but we're almost to 50 Wednesday, solidly Thursday and Friday in the 50s. There's the cloud cover over Putnam County and DePauw University. All is quiet on the streets there and dry. Temperatures 32 in Columbus, 39 in Sullivan. All of central Indiana has temperatures well below average for this time of year. It'll take a little bit here. The warmer air sits well west of the Mississippi. It will eventually be drawn into the state on a southwest wind. This will be the last night, at least probably until early next week, that low temperatures go in the 20s. So we talk about the warming trend so often for high temperatures, but overnight temperatures tonight at 25. They'll be warmer, generally in the 30s after that. Tomorrow, the battle between clouds and sunshine continues, and I think during the afternoon the tug of war will be won by cloud cover, but we should at least see more sunshine than we had today. Wind still won't be too strong, temperatures in the low 40s. The wind will pick up, though, tomorrow night and into Wednesday morning, but notice the wind direction. Out of the southwest, that'll start to draw some warmer temperatures in. It'll hold our overnight lows in the 30s. Wednesday morning. Wednesday at noon, 44, more sunshine through the afternoon, temperature of 48. I'd say western Indiana has a good shot at temperatures reaching the low 50s. You can see that from Lafayette to Rockville, Terre Haute, Sullivan, Bloomfield, Bloomington, on down toward Columbus and Bedford. Friday forecast will be warmer than Thursday's high of 53. I think our temperatures will peak as we get to Friday, and what goes up will come down. Saturday, rain is likely. It will be windy. That's a morning high in the low 50s. Temperatures falling in the afternoon. Could have a couple of flurries or snow showers early Sunday. Otherwise, Sunday afternoon mixing in some sunshine. But that transition from the 50s to the 30s, that's what we're so used to in Indiana, right? We get all kinds of weather in a short period of time, and that will happen again as we get to the weekend and beyond.
True to the Hoosier State. All right, thanks, Kevin. IU's football's dream season continues as the team now prepares to face Purdue in the Old Oaken Bucket rivalry game. On Saturday, the Hoosiers traveled to Madison, Wisconsin to take on the University of Wisconsin Badgers. This was sophomore quarterback Jack Tuttle's first career start at IU, replacing Michael Penix Jr., who tore his ACL in the Maryland game. And Tuttle came up big when he needed to. He threw for 2 touchdown passes, one going to tight end Peyton Hendershot, the other going to star receiver Watfield. Equally as impressive, IU's defense. The Hoosiers kept the Badgers out of the end zone. All Wisconsin could muster was a pair of field goals. IU beat Wisconsin 14-6. And out of that big win, honors for a pair of IU football players. The Big Ten named linebacker Micah McFadden the conference's Defensive Player of the Week. McFadden led the defense with 9 total tackles, 2 sacks, and 2 tackles for loss. And punter Hayden Whitehead is the Big Ten Special Teams Player of the Week. He had a crucial punt that pinned Wisconsin down at its own 1-yard line, which really helped out the defense there. Congratulations to McFadden and Whitehead. And again, this upcoming Saturday, it's the Old Oaken Bucket game between IU and Purdue. IU's riding high after that win over Wisconsin, but the Boilermakers are coming off a loss to the Nebraska Cornhuskers. The Hoosiers may be having a better season, but anything can happen in these rivalry games. The Old Oaken Bucket game kicks off at 3:30 Saturday afternoon.
Major problems with oral health are popping up during the pandemic. Why teeth are getting neglected and what you are encouraged to do about it.
Welcome back to the News at 5 here on WRTV. We are all focusing on staying safe from COVID-19, but many of us are delaying routine checkups, and that includes to the dentist.
And now some dentists are seeing problems in the patients who delayed their checkup and are now coming in.
There's a lot of close links to dental problems for people who take antidepressants and can just have lots of negative effects on your mouth. It actually decreases saliva flow, so we see lots of opportunistic cavities in patients who are on antidepressants. We've also seen an increasing amount of patients who've presented with headaches and jaw aches that are directly related to grinding or clenching of the teeth, which we know has a strong correlation with emotional stress.
Well, if you are concerned about going back to your dentist during the pandemic, experts say ask questions before making your appointment.
What safeguards do they have on entry into the office? For example, is there, a questionnaire, and, are they very careful about admitting patients that have any symptoms? And also, does the office have the proper PPEs?
Dental experts say oral health affects overall health, and that should not be ignored. All new at 6 p.m., a staggering number of Hoosiers need a helping hand this holiday season, but a local shelter says there is no shortage of generosity. How you can pitch in to help. Another local city about to get police body cameras, why it's taken longer than originally thought, and when the officers will be equipped with those cameras. That's next at 5:30.